Hi everyone, my name is Brett Kierstead. I'm Vice President of Sales for Knowledge Marketing, and we are the sponsor for this track on media sales. And so I'm just doing some quick introductions of the different sessions today. This session is very near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, and that is around customer modeling and behavioral targeting on how data is driving sales. I think we all recognize conference after conference, there's a consistent subject about how data is becoming more and more a critical part of how a publisher runs its business. We're all firm believers that there continues to be a need for the data folks to become more out front and cooperative with the business, and particularly sales, which are the people that are out representing your company and your information to the market. So we're really blessed to have two excellent speakers today. First will be Aaron Martin, who's Senior Director of Data Products at sovrn, and then Joann Kropp, who's Vice President, Customer Data Solutions for Penton SmartReach. So Aaron's going to lead us off, and please give him a warm round of applause, and look forward to it.
A real problem that we're all fighting right now is the second screen and the ability to keep people's attention. You know, it used to be enough for us all to be entertained by one piece of media. Now a lot of times you're fighting with a TV or a tablet or the desktop. So it can go either way. So understanding your customers and your consumers and modeling up how they behave when they do certain activities and how long they do them for is really important. We're continually losing our attention span as a group of people. So you can see it's gone down from 12 seconds in 2000 to now we're less than a goldfish. So understanding your audience and knowing when to target them and how to target them and how they want to be reached and what they're interested in is becoming increasingly important, not just for ads, but also for what kind of content you're publishing and who you're putting it in front of. So understanding your audience. So one of the things to do when you're understanding your audience is to take all the millions or billions of data signals you get and start aggregating them together and coming up with profiles of how you look at an individual. So you can see the lovely lady we have up here on the slide. She likes marathons, so we have her marathon training schedule. We show her marathon running shoes. You know, she's trying to choose the right shoes, so we show her articles on choosing the right marathon shoe. And so on and so forth. So it's really to see that, like, how powerful just showing a running site and letting somebody navigate the information that they want to see and understanding what they're looking for, how you can customize that message and present it to that user. We typically stick between two different types of audience targeting or behavioral targeting. We have a behavioral and we have intent. So behavioral is just the signals we glean by observing the information that we see coming across our ad network. So we see 1 billion ad calls a day. That's roughly 50 million cookies that we can track and understand how they're interacting with the marketplace. And we put that into behavioral targeting signals. And then intent is taking those signals and then putting a lens of clarity around them. So if we go back to the example previously, we took all of the sites that she went to for running, and we determined that she was, in fact, somebody that was interested in marathons and somebody that was looking for marathon shoes. So by taking those additional signals and applying a human filter to them, you can then understand the intent of what that user is trying to do. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about the behavioral. So this is showing you that we look for who is the audience that we're targeting, where did they come from, what are they viewing, and did they find what they were looking for when they got there? So that's kind of our behavioral funnel that we go through. We look at the interaction, the recency, how often do they come to that page in a month, and then the frequency, how many times are they coming a day. Those give us all the different signals for as we model up our different customer data. This is just an example of what we pull from like a URL. We get a brand, we pull the product, we pull the refer that the user came from, a segment that's associated with it. In this instance, it's an Axiom segment, which is a data behavioral analytics segment that's being served. And the source, it's coming from the Major League Baseball site. So just from seeing a URL come across our site, we can glean all of these additional data points just from interpreting the URL and putting them into different categories and segmentations. This is a sample of kind of how we break up the demographics and the intent categories, just for visualization purposes. You can see the demographics, the trendy homemakers, and the auto enthusiasts. These are two pretty commonly asked for audience segments that we get. So you can see how we kind of put them together and provide the data back to the people that are buying it. One thing that's really important as we weed through all this different data is understanding the difference between causation and correlation. So you can see on the slide here, sales did not go up because people shaved their heads, right? So just because two things happen doesn't mean that they necessarily correlate to each other or cause what you think that they cause. This is an example of how we see data come through our network. It's a little bit different than most of you in the room, but as the data gets passed through all the different supply-side platforms and from the publisher side, and then we serve the ad on their behalf. So we see all that information being passed to and from us, and then we store it, and then we can recall it rapidly. This is our dashboard that we have internally that we provide to our publishers that use our services. And this is just a brief look at the dashboard, but what we really try to provide them is insight into who's coming to their site and how much, not just how much audience they receive, but also how much revenue comes from those different audiences, so that you can understand, is the content that you're providing the same content that is causing the CPM to rise? Or is just because it's your highest segment mean that it's the most CPM efficient? So the example we usually talk about is do I make more off of young entrepreneurs on a CPM level than I do from female executives just because I have more female executives? Should I produce more content focused towards them, or should I go after young entrepreneurs? And that's kind of a different lens that we put on how we see that data and try to provide that feedback back to the different publishers. And that's all that I have. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to stop me afterwards. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I'll go back, and you guys get to see my presentation again. And then we'll go let Joann talk. It's a little preview. It's really good.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Let me get this. Good morning. Good afternoon. I've got notes here so that I don't talk too fast. Can everybody hear me okay? So I'm Joann Kropp. I work for Penton. And my background is running a list management and list brokerage company. For many years, a division of Info Group called Walter Carl. I went to Penton after leaving Walter Carl, and I thought I'd stay a year. Move on, see what the client side was like. Do I want to be on the client side, vendor side? Well, guess what? 7 years later, I'm still here. I'm still here because of our rich content that Penton serves our audience, and a large audience of users who need that content to do their job day in and day out. My job at Penton is to monetize the database, which is our biggest asset. And I'm here to talk about a product that we launched this year called WebTarget. So if you heard David Kieselstein yesterday, you know who Penton is. I won't go into too much of that. I'm going to talk a little bit about SmartReach, WebTarget, what works, why we did it, and what we got out of it. So here's Penton. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Like I said, David explained to you how we transformed into an information services company. We inform millions of people every day in their job. And so what it means is now that we are information brokers. I'm an information broker. That's what I do. So in July of 2013, so I guess it's sort of cut off up here, Penton embarked on a new data initiative. And that was to build a division within Penton that brought you, it's the next generation to get connection to the right people in the right companies making real business decisions. And wrapped around that are all the products that we bring to you related on how you can reach our database in multi-channel touches. So WebTarget, what is it? WebTarget is our sales intelligence and lead targeting platform. It's made possible because of the content that we are producing daily, well, hourly, by the minute, and putting it out on our busy websites and delivering business information to professionals every day. Our brands are recognized for editorial excellence, and we have a well-established reputation in the publishing area. So what we do is we leverage our data. Sorry, I lost my place. So there were many reasons for why did we seek out to build a web intelligence tool. Many reasons. Our customers are demanding it. They're demanding behavioral targeting. They want to get more bang for their buck. So we also wanted to improve our lead nurturing process. Improve the click-throughs, those things that our advertisers hold us accountable for. And we knew that getting to bringing our content, wrapping it around our websites, to help us target individuals that brings us products to the market. So I am going to, and it's also the extra mile. We believe it's the extra mile. Whether you call your list rental product, if you call it list sales, you call it list rental, it's that extra mile in the CPM offers. So what is it? So step one is lead identification. I'm sorry. Okay, so WebTarget leverages the IP addresses from all of our web activity. The web content consumption of every single person on every single page is analyzed. It's a custom product. So examples would be identifying web activity, hotspots related to cloud computing, solutions or variable annuities, or even when a certain set of companies are researching product info on our sites. So here's a diagram that hopefully better points it out. So we are gathering all of this web activity from all of our site, making sense of it, standardizing it, normalizing it, building intelligence around it, tapping into our database, which produces the leads. A lot of stuff. So this is the dashboard. So hopefully you can see some of it. So what this does is this allows us to show how many topics are they reading on our websites, what companies are consuming the data, which geographic areas are they reading it around the country. If we were to scroll down here, you would see a whole map of a heat map of where this activity is coming from, what parts, so that we can go back into the database. So the next step is the lead generation for step 3. After we get all of that information that's from the activity analytics, we still want to tie it back to our database of the decisions within our within these companies that comes back that we can bring back into the picture for the marketing. So lead engagement, that's the step 4. We're going to pull all that. We're going to pull the information from the analytics, pull the IP address, go into our database, and be able to marry up marketing campaigns that we have at Penton to support that. And this is how it works. These are the 4 steps. It's the identifying the leads, scoring the leads, developing the list, and pushing out any lead engagement that you can that matches what our advertisers are looking for. So the lesson we learned is that.
Karen, can you go back just a second?
Sure.
Does that mean that if these companies had a site and an advertiser wants to know about it, are you then pushing fresh content out to them?
We can push fresh content out. So that's the whole part. We're leveraging the Penton content, or we can push out the advertisers offer. So we can build the content, our marketing services group can build programs around it, but it's identifying earlier in the funnel when research is being done. One of the big challenges was that we can't resolve all of our traffic, right? We have a lot of ghost traffic. So we can resolve about 30% of our traffic. The traffic that we can't resolve is down. We take it down to a ZIP+4 level. We're able to strip out exactly the location of where someone is coming in with at the ZIP+4 where they're coming into our database, where they're coming in from on our website, so that we can tap into the database and find those people in our database by selecting by ZIP+4. So what did we accomplish with building this? We did meet the demand for our behavioral targeting that our customers were asking. We've added business intelligence to our offer, to our traditional direct marketing programs. We were able to offer an increased premium pricing. Our reps now have new conversations. They started new conversations with their clients. We're driving larger content discussions. We also have, better lead gen programs, and it's also feeding insight back into the market. We were surprised. We thought that this would be more of a way to leverage our direct marketing offers, sell email campaigns, when it's actually it's moving from an R&D, potentially licensing our database, wrapping marketing programs around it, and they're big. They are big dollar offerings. Do you want to come up for any questions? Sorry. Any questions?
I have a question. Are you identifying the identity of a person associated to a company that comes from that IP address, or are you identifying that ABC company is consuming content, and then you're just going and finding other individuals in your contact database from that company?
Yes, number 2. We're identifying, a company gives us, we're processing all of our web activity data, and we're standardizing and normalizing and analyzing it. When a company gives us search words or search phrases, and there's a match, so if someone's on the website reading about that word or that phrase or that content piece, we are identifying the IP address, pulling the IP address out and matching it, and pulling the IP address out and the location and matching it up in our database. Any other questions? Yeah.
The lead dashboard that you showed in one of the examples, was that something that Penton had built in-house, or did you license that, these types of dashboards elsewhere?
Now, we have a third-party technology partner that built it for us. And they've really customized it. And I want to stress that this is a custom program. And so this dashboard can look different, can look whatever the advertiser wants. And it's a subscription program as well. So they buy it for a 3-month, 3, 6, or 12-month period.
And are you able to charge more based on all of the behavioral targeting cost per lead model for your
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Sorry, are you going to charge incrementally more now that you have all of this information? Do you sell that at a premium?
Yes, what we've done is we've built packages around this premium product. So you can buy it as a research tool. You can get direct marketing campaigns. You can access our ad network, our co-registration, anything that allows our advertiser to get to someone in our database or someone interacting with us online. And so and then it does become a premium product. It's a behavioral targeting.
Are you doing any lead follow-up? So you pass the leads going over. Is your team doing any calling that lead? Do you qualify that lead or following up with that?
Now we put it through a lead nurturing program. So we can send a standard email deployment. We can serve banner ads. We can do audience extension from that email deployment. Serve banner ads, put it on a co-registration site, drive them to a landing page, but we're not doing any, we don't do the calls, we just drive them to the customers so far.
We have two gated websites, so we have a lot of really rich data that you don't have to necessarily rely on the IP address for it. You can actually know who's reading what content based on their login information. It's a pretty unique situation in that it's certainly valuable and not valuable. My question for you is, what kind of research, if any, have you guys done to understand the difference in ROI for targeted campaigns that are using that exact research to show that they're interested in that product or that topic versus just kind of a spray and pray approach? Really for either of you.
Oh, do you want to take it?
I mean, the way that we use it at our company is that we don't have, like, I'm trying to think of the best way to answer this. So we definitely see a higher click-through rate when we have targeted campaigns that go back to them. And what we'll typically do is we'll retarget them after we see them using a similar approach to what you're talking about, but we'll match that ad to the cookie, and then we'll continue following them as they go outside of whatever website. Like, so outside of your website, whenever they would go to another website, we'll stick with them and persistently hit them. So the click-through rate is still high, but it does decrease as you touch them more and more, and eventually we cap them out and stop showing that. So I'd say, like, we definitely see higher, probably 1.5 times higher click-through rate when using that approach.
I've got to say the same thing for us. We'll use this technology to identify the targeted, right? We're going to get down to the target of people that we're researching or interested in that product. We will send an email out, and then we would do an audience extension or a retargeting banner campaign, send another email out, and that's really increased, not just the click-through, but it's really increasing the conversions.
A little bit of both. So he was asking for the intent behavior if we use internal data or if we outsource that through a third party. So the answer is we do a little bit of both. We do work with, like, the Axioms of the world and things of that nature, but majority of what we do is internal, and we usually use any third party signals we see to validate our own models that we've built. So we have a team of 4 data scientists that are just building models day after day. So whenever we see those or buy those third-party signals, we're really validating what we've done internally, because we can sell them for more without taking any of the rev share from the third-party provider.
And you're working to identify future behavior. Can you describe a little bit more about what you see happening in the modeling process that really fuels that prediction?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, what we're working on right now is trying to marry the behavior and the intent together. That's where we believe the marriage or the fusion really gets interesting, is being able to say, like, we have this giant database of information. Of that, I want to know who's looking for a running shoe, who's running a marathon. Like, and it allows us to drill down on that campaign idea, from that level. So right now we're running like several different taxonomies to roll all those up, and then trying to validate how we see those signals and what's actually happening. So right now it's kind of in like an incubation period where we're running these models and then watching them to see if they're following what our assumptions are.
Are you building sort of personas around this as well? And are you seeing the modeling of personas as a asset you can monetize against?
Absolutely. So yeah, we call them audiences, but they're essentially a persona, like on the publisher side. So we get requests all the time from advertisers directly for a persona or an audience, diapering moms or truck contenders or things of that nature that are really valuable users, and they want to know what those users look like and where they're going and how they could find them through not standard means. Off the cookied traffic behavior, mostly, and then like I said, we validate that against.
Seeing any negative pushback from a B2B on the consumer site on retargeting? So if you're on an automotive trade site, you go to the consumer site, and you're targeting to that site, is there any pushback?
Well, we're trying to do as many filters as we can. So we're not going out to just every consumer site. That's one thing. So we do, we're paying a little bit more on the bidding to prevent that. And, so far what what has helped is our inventory. So it's where we're sold out on sites. That helps. It helps improve our email campaigns that we're doing. But it also helps, it's helping round it out. So customers are seeing that it's where that person's going. The fact that they were on our website, they're already targeted, they're already qualified, or we send them an email, a targeted email, it doesn't really matter where they're going. As long as, and if we can show that ROI, and we are. Certain groups, our restaurant groups, everybody loves it. Certain groups, the manufacturing likes it. Some of the industries, we're in 16, 5 core sectors. Some of them are slower to adopt it, but I'm actually pretty happy about it.
What I would say to that question, like what we see from the advertising side, is that it depends on the vertical that you're talking about and the amount of time that cookie is valid to be in that segment. Like we spend a lot of time working on like, if I'm buying a truck, that's a much different cookie value than if I'm buying a movie ticket. Both of which have retargeting capabilities or audience or behavioral targeting capabilities, but the amount of time that you have to reach that person drastics greatly. So the truck contender can be, when we talk about it, anywhere from 30 to 45 days. Obviously a movie ticket's like a 2-day window. So there's a lot of work to be done in terms of like when you're retargeting to users, understanding your requirement to that user and understanding how many times they should be seeing that same information until it's not relevant anymore.
Guys, you presented some pretty sophisticated solutions, and obviously the questions coming from the audience are pretty sophisticated as well. Wondering if you had any advice to share with publishers who are just starting down this path, publishers who are just trying to get control on their audience data and what they can do with it. Can you share any advice on how they do that? What are the baby steps that are starting down this path?
So we actually talked about this like as we were starting, like just don't be scared. Like jump in, get your hands dirty, do some experimentation. Nobody can answer the question for your audience. We try to do it really well, but like it's still your audience, they're your users, like it's your data, like you should own it and you should try to understand your own actions that you're taking off of it and validate your own assumptions.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I mean, for us, we do have a large database, and it's given us a very strong revenue stream for many years. But we also have to we're very careful about what we do send our audience. We know that if we send them a targeted email, it's much different than sending them something that they don't care about. So you know, it's building the data, understanding it is, maybe enhancing it so that you can understand your audience better. We've done some overlays using Dun & Bradstreet and Infogroup data. That's helped us for segmentation. That's helped us a lot when we're not asking those questions, and just take baby steps, but jump into it. Somebody is going to market to your audience. They are sending emails. Other companies are sending emails to your audience base. They're still doing direct mail. So get into it wholeheartedly and then read the results and be a partner with your advertiser in the success that campaign will bring.
I'd also say that you'll find the options that you have once you start digging into that just grow every day. Like we spent years not going full speed into the data realm of our business, and once we committed and went into it full steam ahead, like I think once a week we sit down and say, oh, I didn't realize we could do this with the data. So I feel like that's probably valid for everybody, that as you start getting into it, you'll find more and more applications for how it could be used or how it could be leveraged.
Yeah, for us, getting into the audience extension, we don't really call it retargeting. We call it audience extension. That was a big step. That was a big step for many of our publishers because they just thought it would be intruding and they thought we were going to be stalking people, but it's pretty amazing how our audiences, our advertisers have really opened their arms to it, and they're really happy about it. They're happy that we're offering it.
Yep.
Follow-up question to what Matt asked previously regarding getting started. This clearly seems to be something that is highly technical and highly complex, and in order to have a great idea, even a great business proposition, it sounds to me like you need to have the right people on the team with that kind of technical background to actually understand the data, sift through it, and do whatever it takes to build the programs to actually execute it. What kind of titles would you have on staff? Who would you look for to hire to actually create this?
I'm going to answer this question two different ways because I'll put my publisher hat on here in a minute. Like in our business, our data is extremely real time, so we have different processing needs than most of you guys would have, frankly. Like our data is refreshed every 4 seconds, so that's how up to speed we stay. It's a little bit different. So like we require a data applications team of 4 people and a data management organization that just manages the data flow itself. So it's a little bit more extreme than anybody would need here. From a publisher standpoint, I'd say you'd need like an information architect that could manage the database flow and how the information gets in there. And then it's really about you deciding like how much data you want to hold on to and how long the data is valid for. Those are probably your first 2 questions to getting started. And then from there, you can work with an information architect to come up with how you would store that.
So my answer is very similar to Aaron's, but so we already had a database, an audience database that we build, that we collect much like most of you, where we're updating it. We were updating it quarterly, right? Pulling in all the information from all of the multiple data sectors, like 180 data fields. So you do need somebody that can manage that process. We have a really good third-party partner who has built the database for us, and now we're starting to update it more frequently. That was one of the issues, is the data was not as real-time as what was required to support some of these products, right? So somebody is researching today, we need to be able to know that we can try to pull someone out of that database as fast as possible. And so we have the technologist and really working with our third parties. It's like David said yesterday, we're not building a lot, we're doing a lot of outsourcing.
I think it really depends on your vertical, and like if you're selling like mortgages or things of that nature, then it's probably longer and more interest, and the more the better. And again, like it just depends on what you're trying to sell and what your end price is, probably more than anything. Like what's your conversion price, and then that probably gives you some aspect of how long that's valid. Like what we do is we run like a sliding scale of how long we assume those validations are good for, and then it'll drop off naturally.
So we're still getting into much of this analysis, but we find that some of our industries where they're selling auctions, like there's auction sites. It could be commercial real estate, it could be heavy equipment, it could be, or continuing education. Those are fast, they make quick decisions. So if they're researching it, we know that we've got to do multiple things to follow them around, and where the cookies burn when the auction expires. So, but we also know that a lot of research is being done before they're even reaching out for sales. So 50% of the work's been done before we're even aware of it. We can catch them earlier, we have so much statistics over the industry. Like Aaron said, it depends on your market, and we're doing a lot of testing to figure that out as well.
How did your sales teams adopt a lot of these new product offerings? I'm sure you had a lot of like legacy print people. What kind of like transitions did you go through with the new people with the training?
Oh, that's a really good question. It was all new people coming in. I hate to say.
We've heard that before.
Huh?
I think we've heard that before.
Yeah, right. If you heard David, the 40%. It's new people. The print folks are constantly being challenged, and they're realizing that when their customer who wants to give them business, they really want to give them the business they gave them that last year. I spent $100,000 with you. I'm just not going to go into print. They're learning that they've got to have something else. This web target tool is not for everybody. We're finding that the enterprise sale, the bigger the customer, and those sales reps tend to be more sophisticated. They can talk about the product, and we can even really build one of these for the demo, so they can actually see their own data in there. We pull down their taxonomy. So it takes a different kind of sales rep to do it. And we have 200 sales reps, so I want to say maybe 8 have embraced it of the 200. Have. Yeah. Yeah. But they're getting there. Yeah, no, yeah, it's a variety of people on my staff. It's the folks that it's like a product, like what Aaron is at his company. It's a product. There's a product manager that owns it, that builds the dashboard, that goes out, is the one that answers the questions, and that sales reps tee it up. That's their job. And then all the revenue goes back to that sales guy, so he's pretty happy about that. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's both. I think in some of our industries where it's still very print centric, right? They want to hold on to that. And if a company, if one of their advertisers like this, they may not spend money in print. So I think if they understand it better, or they're a part of a sale, or they listen to it, we're doing corporate-wide presentations of it, and then we're doing market presentations, and then we're offering up the chance to listen to how phone calls go with the larger clients to ease them into this. So I mean, as far as I'm very happy if they just tee it up. That's all really they have to do. So we have a major chemical company in one of our verticals that kept asking the rep for behavioral targeting. Now, this is an industry that the market leader had firmly believed that the industry wasn't ready for this kind of business intelligence. And so we pulled down the taxonomy, put together a dashboard like this, went into the company, met at a high level, and what came out of it is they want to license this dashboard, the client. So we're finalizing the contract to license it. We're finalizing a data install of our data going into their data sources so that they can use it for their own analytical purposes. They're finding that they're able to track, you can't see, but there's a heat map below this. They're able to track the infestation of some bugs that are going all over the country. They're able to track where they need to send campaigns to. And then they're buying content, which is the beauty of it. They're buying our content so that we're writing the information that they need to get this word out about their chemical. So it's content, it's database, it's a very, very large spend on lead nurturing for them, and licensing this to go on their own, to get into this dashboard and to also license it for their own website. So it's about $1.5 million.
Right, so it may not necessarily create the product itself, but it creates the awareness that some other marketing activities need to occur, which gives you the opportunity to sell.
Yeah. We've also had a couple tech companies that just wanted to know what was going on with cloud computing, who's researching it, and they were, or what their competitors are. I think that was a question over there earlier today. Is that kind of creepy that you know what your competitors are? Your competitors could be researching what's going on. We could be looking at what your competitors are researching on our websites. So that's some business intelligence that we have the capability to do.
Are you thinking any of your salespeople or publishers or brand folks that are logging into the systems themselves and are trained on it and accessing the data and sort of trying to find that information, or is there always
Somebody from the team doing it, but no, I totally see that coming soon. We're going to be wrapping data products around this. Right, so it's not just about, take it to a client and do a custom for that advertiser. We're gonna do our own wrapping of products and coming up with some premium data segments as a result of this. So we will. So groups will have access to it.
Guys, just one last question to take us home to give us some good information on how this is helping affect and units. You also talked about how this has really increased individual net buys. Any big picture financials that you can share with us about why publishers should be chasing this, how you can make a case to your CEO about why they should be investing in something like this. For example, UPM started doing customer profiling, and they drove $2 million in additional event revenue over a 12-month period. They were able to profile people, pinpoint them to select events, upsell them to events. Anything you can share from that? What's the big picture that we're getting into behavioral targeting and leveraging your audience data?
Okay, so for me, I was looking at, because early on I said that my job is to monetize the database, which is our biggest asset. One of the challenges is holding on to the CPMs. Our data is expensive. We get it. We don't discount. If you heard our CEO yesterday, he made that clear. We can get it because of the targeting, but holding on to a decent-sized business from one-time campaigns, one-time email blast to a targeted, doesn't matter how targeted it is, I don't think it's scalable. And I don't think that it's gonna protect us in the protect this revenue base. So that's one of the reasons I saw the value in it, and how do we bring our rich content and our data together to support marketing services. And so and lastly is our advertisers demanded it. So so yeah, we've had sales. We have sales anywhere from a subscription. It's a subscription buy. It's a minimum 3-month buy-in. So it's anywhere from the 3 months, and we are in the early stages of, we just launched this over the summer. It was really soft launched to a couple of our markets. We've tested it, and now we're rolling it out. Every single demo that we've had, we believe that there's going to be a 2015 spend. So maybe next year I'll have more updated stats for you.
So the way that I sold it was that I would take the data like Joanne's talking about, post ad campaign that ran, and then I would go model backwards what it should be worth if we were to sell it at a higher CPM that the market would pay for that audience segment. And then I would compare how the two campaigns performed and assume that the click-through would be better as well, but mostly just the CPM, just seeing that CPM lift was enough to at least create enough interest to move forward.
Very good. Well, guys,
Thank
very
you.
much. Let's give a round of